A conspiracy? Okay, really? Am I making this into something many times more worse than it really was? I mean, after all, when this has been brought up, the GBC has just brushed it aside as if it was of no significance. So am I just making this into something many times more worse than it really was? No, not at all. All I am doing is stating what they actually did. In the chronological timeline, I will provide evidence from the database that documents that the event did, in fact, take place, and that Ramesvar was key in propagating this lie to the other ISKCON centers. While some devotees have known about this, fewer are aware of the details that Ramesvar filled me in on, and many don't understand the ramifications this event has as it relates to this Rtvik Guru issue. The word conspiracy is defined as a group of individuals who meet and conspire or plan out a way of going against another entity, generally their authority. According to what Ramesvar had told me, this is exactly what these GBC men did. They met and conspired on a plan of action whose intended purpose was to prevent Srila Prabhupada's humble and loving personal request from being known and fulfilled. They conspired to thwart his request. And to do that, it required that they must lie to the general devotee population. They must lie to us using Srila Prabhupada's name. The most serious ramification of this is that these sinful and offensive acts deprived His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, of seeing all of his disciples one last time. Preventing this was the whole intended purpose of their lies and their actions. That, all by itself, is a most grave misdeed that these men perpetuated. This was Srila Prabhupada's personal dying request. He was our very loving and caring spiritual father. He knew that we needed him. He knew we depended solely on his mercy. He knew how important it was for us to receive one last moment of his association. And as any loving father would, he wanted to see all his spiritual children one last time. This was his personal desire. This was his personal request. Yet these men stooped so low as to having to lie to the whole population of ISKCON, to all of us, so that they could successfully deny Srila Prabhupada his last personal loving request. What these men did was totally unconscionable. A devoted disciple will give his life to carry out the request of his guru. A loving disciple will do whatever it takes to fulfill his guru's desire. What sort of disciple could ever allow themselves to think that it is a righteous thing to deliberately take action to prevent their own guru's dying personal request from being fulfilled? Not only did they take no action to carry out their guru's request, but these men actually took direct, intentional, deliberate action to prevent his request from being fulfilled. This is mind-numbing. And as I said, that was the effect that I felt at the time, numbness of the mind. As Ramesvar told me all this in November of 1977, just a week, barely a week after Srila Prabhupada left this world. Even as I speak these words and describe this event, it seems almost unbelievable that these men could have done this and that they could have felt justified in what they were doing to the point that they thought it was actually a righteous thing that they had done. I'm not making this sound one tiny bit worse than it actually was. I am simply stating what they did. And what they did was as bad as it sounds.